We just did our deployment of our switch profile where we reference the interface profiles that we created. Now what I want to do is I want to verify whether or not those have actually been applied. Now the easiest and fastest way to do that would be to access the ACI via our command line. And what I want to do is I just want to see if there's been a change to those running configs for my leaves. So all I got to do is just type show run, and I want to look at the running configuration for Leaf 101. And what we see here is indeed Interface 101 does have a policy group of demo 10 gig CDP on LLDP off applied. Next thing I want to do is I want to look at the running configuration for Leaf 102, and we see Interface 12 has the configuration of the policy group configured, and everything seems to be good to go. But the question is it really working? So the way to find out is going to be to SSH to my leaf. So I'm going to SSH to leaf 1. And once I get logged in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute my show commands. So first of all, let's see if LLDP is off. Show LLDP neighbors. Now what we're going to find here is that LLDP is not off, but it should not be off system wide. Notice it's not running on interface 1.1 on this switch. In fact, I could actually clarify that by typing show LLDP neighbors for interface Ethernet 1.1, and we'll see I have no neighbors. But if I come over here and change the syntax to CDP, we should see that CDP is now indeed running on Ethernet 1.1. Now, this doesn't mean CDP is on everywhere. In fact, if I type show CDP neighbors on this device and look at the output, I'm going to find that it's only seeing a neighbor out of interface 1.1. Now, the same thing should be true for Leaf 2. The easiest thing to do will just simply be to SSH to Leaf 2. And then once I access the console here, 2, 3, 4, 5, what I should do is just simply type show CDP neighbors. And because nobody else is in the pod and no other interfaces are running CDP, because remember it's off by default, I should only see one adjacency, and that's going to be to chassis 2. Now, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt now that everything is working exactly the way that I want it to. And this is an excellent introduction to the idea of ACI and the logical constructs known as policies, policy groups, and profiles. Now it doesn't end here because there are other logical constructs that we need to talk about. Those constructs are going to be tenants, virtual routing and forwarding instances, bridge domains, subnets, and then we're also going to have to pay attention to another type of policy called an application profile, an AP. So when we look at how all this comes together, we have to continue this logic because we'll constantly use this idea of policies and policy groups over and over and over to manipulate our fabric. But at the end of the day, even though the policy says to run CDP on this interface, local to Leaf 2, the question is what is that connected to? Who owns it? Do I own it? Does Bob own it? And that all still has to be discussed and illustrated in our lectures. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into a continuation of our discussion about logical constructs and how they apply to the application-centric infrastructure.